The truth is, Sanford is not crashing, but it definitely is changing. If you've been wondering whether Sanford, Florida is still a strong seller's market or if buyers finally have a little more breathing room, this market update is going to break it down in a way that actually makes sense. I'm Chasity Maldonado, a local realtor here in Sanford, Florida. I help buyers, sellers, and relocating families understand the Sanford market so they can make confident moves without feeling overwhelmed by all the numbers. Today, I'll be breaking down the most recent Sanford housing market data for May 2026. We're going to talk about home prices, inventory, days on market, price drops, and what all of this actually means if you're thinking about buying, selling, or relocating to Sanford. My goal is to make this simple, practical, and local so you can walk away understanding what is actually happening in this market right now. The biggest thing to understand right now is that in Sanford, it's not a bad market. It's just a different market. We're shifting from that 10th sellers market into something that feels a lot more balanced. So here you'll see buyers have more options than they did during the peak years, and they're able to be more selective at what they're willing to pay for. At the same time, sellers still have opportunity, but they have to be strategic more than they've ever been. The homes that are priced correctly, they show well, they offer real value, and they're still getting attention. But the homes that are overpriced or not prepared, they're sitting longer and often needing price adjustments. So the main takeaway from this is yes, Sanford is still moving, but the market is requiring more strategy for both sellers and buyers. Now, let's take a look at these numbers. The median sales price in Sanford is about 339K. With this report, it's also showing a range between 335 to 344. Homes, they're taking about 48 days to sell in this current market. Last month in May, there were 191 homes that had sold, and the sale to list price ratio is about 97.6%. So what that means is that homes are selling slightly a bit below the asking price on average. Currently, there are 530 active listings and 161 new listings that have came on the market in May. So when you put all of this together, it shows a market that's cooling but still active. Buyers are still buying, sellers are still selling, but the market's not moving with the same urgency or pressure as we saw a few years ago. So here, this chart, it shows that prices are softer than they were last year. The median sales price is down about 4% to 7% year over year. But I want to be clear on something. This does not mean Sanford is crashing, but it also doesn't mean that homes are suddenly on sale. What it means is that buyers are paying closer attention to value, the monthly payment, property taxes, insurance, location, and so on, and they're comparing those to other things that are on the market. For buyers, this can create more opportunity than they've seen over the last few years. And then for sellers, this just means that pricing needs to be based on today's market, and this is critical. You can't price your home based on only what other homes are selling for during the peak market. You have to look at what buyers are actually willing to pay right now. So buyers have more option. Inventory is one of the biggest reasons the Sanford market feels different right now. Currently, there's 530 active homes on the market and 191 homes that had sold in May. This gives Sanford an absorption rate of about 36%. Another way to look at this is that Sanford has about 2.8 months of inventory. That means is if there are no more new homes that have came on the market, it would take a little under 3 months to sell through the current inventory at the current pace. Now, this is not an oversupplied market, but it is more balanced than what buyers were dealing with before. For buyers, this means more options and a little bit more room to compare. For sellers, this means more competition. Your home stands out through pricing, presentation, marketing, and so on. Now, this is the most important number in the entire market update. Nearly 40% of listings have had a price drop. This tells us buyers are watching closely and they're willing to wait if the home feels overpriced. They're not just buying something because it's available. They're comparing homes, looking at monthly payments, checking condition, deciding whether the price actually makes sense to them. And here, for sellers, the warning is that overpriced homes can go stale. The first 2 weeks on market are extremely important right now because that is when your listing is going to get the most attention. The strategy is to price correctly from day one. When the price is aligned with the market, the home is more likely to attract serious buyers and keep momentum. The result is that homes that are priced right are selling, but sellers who started too high are often having to adjust. And again, as you see, nearly 40% of the listings have dropped. So, what does this mean for buyers? For buyers, there's more opportunity, but you still need a strategy. You may have more homes to choose from. You might have more room to negotiate. You might also be able to ask sellers for credits, closing costs helps, repairs, or other terms that make your purchase more manageable. But this doesn't mean that you can sit back forever. The best homes are still moving, and especially if they're priced well, updated, and in a desirable Sanford location, they're coming off the market quick. So the key is preparation. Know your budget, know your monthly payment, know your comfort zone, understand your loan options, and be ready for when the right home comes up. Now, what does this mean for sellers? For sellers, this market does not mean you cannot sell. It just means that you need to be more intentional. Sellers, don't panic, but again, have a plan. The homes that are clean, priced correctly, photographed well, and marketed clearly are still getting attention. The homes that are struggling right now are the ones that are overpriced, underprepared, or not positioned well against the current competition. Pricing, it should be based on what's happening right now, not what happened last year, but right now. Before listing, sellers should look at current active homes, recent sales, price reductions, and what buyers are choosing in this current market. Small things like cleaning, decluttering, curb appeal, repairs, and strong photos can make a big difference. And again, the goal is not to chase the market down. The goal is to enter the market with the right strategy from the beginning. This is where Sanford still stands out. People are not just buying a house here, they're buying a lifestyle. They're buying downtown Sanford, the historic charm, the local restaurants, the events, the community feel, the access to the Riverwalk, and the convenience of being close to Orlando, Daytona, the beaches, so on. So, this is why local context matters so much. Sanford, it's not a one size fits all. A home near downtown Sanford might perform differently than a home in another part of the town. Now, a buyer relocating from out of state, they might care about the commute, schools, the neighborhood feel, walkability, or how close they are to family friendly activities. And for sellers, neighborhood specific pricing matters here. You can't just look at Sanford as one big market. You need to understand your specific area, your competition, and what buyers are looking for in that exact location. So here's my final takeaway. Sanford isn't crashing, Sanford's just normalizing. And when the market normalizes, opportunity follows for the people who understand the numbers and make strategic decisions. For buyers, that means knowing your budget, watching your monthly payment, comparing neighborhoods, and being ready when the right home appears. Now, for sellers, that means pricing strategically, preparing your home, and marketing with attention. And for relocating families, that means understanding the full picture before making a move. Not just the home price, but the neighborhood, the commute, the lifestyle, insurance, taxes, the long term fit. Whether you're buying, selling, relocating to Sanford, you don't have to figure this piece out alone. If you want a personalized Sanford market breakdown based on goals, timelines, neighborhood, or price range, send me a message. I have my phone number attached down here along with my email. Thank you for watching this May 2026 Sanford Market Recap, and follow me for more things real estate and local living in the Orlando suburbs.